switch the script a little bit, you know?
Wait, no. The opening was him getting that
No,
the
no,
guys.
I'm saying like under the bleacher scene because it was
Oh
right after.
yeah.
I love any time that Pennywise is being just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Which like that was one of the things. Is like when they were adults, it was hard to do because they're like, "Hey, I'm not really afraid of you," and your whole thing is like you go off fear. But the anytime when they were looking for their tokens and they reverted back to being kids,
Yeah.
you know, when we saw those scenes that we didn't see in chapter one of where they
Yeah.
were still kids and they were interacting with Pennywise, those were fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was one scene that I knew was totally practical, or that I hope was totally practical because it looked practical. But you had Bev and Bill when they were kids coming down the side of Bev's apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and he turns back and he walks around the corner, and Bev has walked off screen to the right, and then the camera backs up, and old Bev is standing there.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that had to have been practical because there's no reason to just CGI that because that would be too expensive. Like you could do that
Yeah.
practically, and I was like, that was a fun shot just from a cinematic. Ooh, I just love camera movement.
Oh yeah.
Give it to me, give it to me.
I love big old spider Pennywise.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, that was one of my things that I was not super pleased about. I just wanted to see like him be fully a spider.
Why?
I don't know. I like that part of the '90s thing where I was just like, this is just so different. I was like,
Yeah, it's
what?
just like super like it's just so goofy.
It was pretty goofy. Oh, well, I just thought that like Pennywise attached to a spider was goofy in general.
Yeah.
It was just
But the way that they set it up, you know, they didn't have to do the spider.
yeah, yeah. It was fun. It was fun. I'm trying to think of other good stuff. There was a lot of stuff that like I was just like, what? Like the Stanley Uris head spider
Yeah, that
thing.
was fucking crazy.
I thought that was actually really cool. That was a good monster. That was a
Yeah.
fun monster. Um, and then there was that other moment with Eddie, where he was in the basement
He
and
just gets puked on.
he was getting puked on, but it was super tense. It was super scary. And then it's like, just call me Angel. I think that was a song in the morning. And I was with a group of people, and I just looked at them, and I was like, did that just happen?
That happened.
I was like, what is this, Deadpool? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was really fun. I just, it didn't have the whimsy that the first one did.
Well, it's because the first one was about children,
Yeah, I know.
and you're following them the entire time.
I know. Is that what growing up means, though? Like, life's just gonna get boring.
Yes, that's exactly what that means.
I didn't even have a fun childhood. As far as like groups of friends, it was just me and my sister, and all we
Well,
did, we'd go into the woods and just dig holes. We didn't face a demon, you know.
well, we can unpack your childhood trauma in another episode.
Nah, I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. I already did it in counseling,
Nice,
and they said I was doing good.
nice. This
Yeah.
episode is brought to you by counseling. Thank you, counseling.
Thank you, counseling. Um, yeah,
The first time that all of the characters were together, that Chinese restaurant,
yeah,
that was fucking bonkers.
yeah. I love when Mike was just like, "It's not real. It's not real."
He was just slamming the fucking
Just
chair on the table.
yeah.
There's like fucking babies running around on the table from the
Oh,
fortune cookies.
yeah, yeah. See, I love that, but a part of me was like, "Is that too much?"
No.
Like, because that was the moment that it took me out of it for me.
Why?
I don't know. I was just like, this is so. The eyeball thing was awesome. That was cool. But the little baby running around, I was just like, what the fuck? This is so weird. I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but it was just one of those things where I was like, I need to go see it again. I'm definitely gonna go
You need
watch
to
it.
go see it sober.
No, probably not. I mean, I just want to watch it. Just want to go watch it again.
I'll tell you this though, I did not know that it was almost 3 hours long.
Yeah,
And when I got out of the movie theater, I was like, "Holy fuck! It's 4 o'clock!" Like
yeah.
it didn't feel like it was that long, but God, because chapter one was not nearly that long. Like that was a relatively short movie. I
Well, it
feel
was two
like.
hours and 50, it was like 2 hours and 15.
Okay, well, I don't know what about throwing an extra 30 minutes on that makes it fucking unbelievable, but
Yeah,
that shit was crazy.
yeah. It was kind of a long one. Um,
I think you can feel it for a large portion of the movie.
like the length.
Yeah. Like I definitely on the front end was like, okay, well this is gonna take some time to ramp up.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
once it does, I didn't even think about it.
yeah. I think I think that it was one of those things that had to take a long time because you had to show. Well, the thing that I would have cut or that I thought would maybe make it better, but I know that some of these moments were because this was on my list of things that I wanted to say that I didn't like, and then I have a list of things that I did like because I did the research, Gabe.
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah, that's basically all you needed. But the timeline threw me off. Like the timeline of them, like so I understand we got all of them, hearing the news from Mike. That was
Hmm.
cool. I thought that was pretty well done. Um, I loved Eddie wrecking his car.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was really fun. I thought it was really cool that they got the actress that played his mom to come back to play his wife.
Yeah.
That was that was hysterical. Um, but then the timeline threw me off because they said that like the summer thing, or they were like the moment. I don't know. So we had it chapter one, and they at the start of the summer they were down in the sewers and or went to what was the house?
Fucking the well house.
Yeah, and then they had those like 3 months, and then they had like, and then they flash back in chapter two to the time that they were all by themselves, and they survived him. I feel like that. I don't know. I didn't really
I
like
don't
that. I
really
didn't.
know what you're trying to say.
Here's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm doing a bad job of explaining it. But I wrote down the timeline threw me off because they remember when Bill and Richie fight each other in chapter
Yes.
one, and then they have like a month and a half where they're just by themselves.
Hmm.
As each member of the Losers Club is kind of by themselves, and they're getting scared by themselves by
Yeah.
Pennywise. I didn't really care for that because the way that the first movie made it seem is that like it had died, like it died down, and
Gotcha.
then all of a sudden Bev is out of nowhere taken. And they all have to come back together.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought. That like threw me off is what I'm trying to say
Hmm.
because I was like, okay, well, didn't in the first movie they just had a nice summer
Yeah.
essentially, because Pennywise kind of got what he wanted and he separated them, and I guess that makes sense for them to be scared. And the
Hmm.
Paul Bunyan scare was
That was
awesome,
fucking gnarly.
but it just like the whole time I was like, that what? Yeah, I don't know, just because of the first movie. That was the only thing.
Okay.
Whatever. If that doesn't really make sense, that's
I
okay.
got you now. I got you the second time you talked about it.
I was not doing a good I was not doing a good job explaining.
Great Jorb.
I'm trying here. I'm really trying.
Yeah, here's one thing that I have to give this movie. If you showed me those children and then showed me those adults in real life, I would believe that they grew up to look like that.
Except for Bill. I didn't really see Bill and then
I can kind of
James
see it.
McAvoy. I I
Did
didn't.
you say McAvoy?
How do you pronounce it?
McAvoy?
Is it I thought it was just MC. Is it MAC?
What?
I promise I'm sober for this recording. It's James McAvoy, right?
Yeah, it's McAvoy.
No, because it's not pronounced McDonald's. It's McDonald's.
Have you ever talked to anyone in the South?
Uh, it's definitely McAvoy.
You didn't even say McAvoy at first. You said McAvoy.
Whatever, man.
You can't
It's definitely
change
not
it now.
McAvoy. Fine, I go back to the first thing that I said.
Well, it's wrong.
Fair enough. But yeah, Richie and Bill Hader, or Finn Wolfhard and Bill Hader.
I like how often Bill Hader threw up in this movie. Like, that's how we were reintroduced to Richie. And then he tried to make a great joke. That was so funny.
Yeah.
I was one of two people in that theater, and it was funny. It was a very funny movie. I don't think we've said that at all yet. It was so funny. But when he fucking axes Bowers, and he's like, well, I guess that was a little over. And just vomits. I was laughing so hard. Almost to the point of crying.
Yeah. I love that. Well, my favorite, like, I didn't expect the funniest moment in the entire film to me, just because it was so unexpected. Like, that's my type of humor, when it's just out of nowhere, something happens, is when Richie, like, runs back in to the big cavern, and he's throwing the rock at Pennywise, and he's like, yippee-ki-yay, mother! And then his face just goes like,
deadlights.
Oh. Yeah. and like Bill Hader is such a good like body performer too. Like I laughed so hard. And actually the entire movie, I was watching it with our manager. Shout out to you, manager. And she kept looking over at me and she kept going, Do you know that you're Richie? Are you aware that you are Richie? And it was every time he threw up and every time that he was like, all right, guys. Sorry, I was just trying to lighten the mood with a joke.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would do in that situation. I would just be. I have the body of Ben as a child, and the brain of Richie as an adult.
I think that you just really summed up your existence pretty well.
Yeah. That's me. What can I say? You remind me of Richie too, but we're just funny boys. Well, I think that's just that's the. I'm not affirming you. Shut up.
You already did. Sorry.
Ah, dang it.
It sucks to suck.
And then I do have one more kind of gripe. This is the only other thing that took me out of the movie, and I hope that you agree with me.
Okay.
Those CGI'd kids, like, I did not enjoy at all. Because I could totally tell.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally plucked me right out.
Well, they did like some weird de-aging CGI, and also did some weird like voice pitch.
Yeah, it felt like their dialogue, like of them speaking, was sped up.
Yes,
just a little. Because when you speed up, the Eddie's. Every time the kid who played Eddie spoke, I was like, that is not remotely.
It wasn't as bad with the other kids. But that first scene when they were like when Eddie was fighting with Richie about like the hammock, I was like, whoa. Like, this is not good.
Yeah. Well, this is something fun. This is my super weird paranoid mind, telling all the listeners, go look up this phenomenon. It's called the uncanny valley. Gabe, have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just explain it for the sake of people who don't know what this is. The uncanny valley is this like dip in lifelike robotics or computer generated images or whatever, where when we see something that looks kind of human or mostly human, but we know that there's something off, it takes our mind out of it. And that's just a brief synopsis.